You've seen the titles. Warzone 2 is saved, just like every season, right? But what all's actually changed? This is a mid-season update, so it's not massive changes. No Verdansk, no one-shot snipers. But we did get a new raid, which we played through. The update for Rebirth, bringing the drone, is finally here. They added inverted flashbangs, but it seemed like it was mostly a balancing act, nerfing the powerful shotguns, which are not so nerfed, and LMGs, and apparently buffing some of the attachments, like ammunition and underbarrels, that nobody uses. We do have a new DMR, which today we're going to be trying 150 players all using it. But I think this is going to be mostly for multiplayer, as these types of guns are. Multiplayer did get some good updates to even ranked, a new map coming. And the final big thing was for the overall gameplay flow. Guaranteed restocks on Zone 4. More contracts coming in at the end game. Nothing really notable for DMZ. Building 21 still only available on the weekends. They didn't mention anything in the patch notes. And they always mention things like you can automatically loot plates when you run over them. But I tried it all day. Wasn't working. With that being said, a lot of us are still, for some reason, playing COD every day. And there are some more details for us to go through. If you appreciate a bonus little video on it, let me know. Let's jump into it. Reloaded patch notes. After playing all day, I got a couple things to say, as well as this St. Paddy's Day update with one-shot snipes. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be on during this day, so hopefully it extends for longer, but knowing them, probably won't. Looks like it's going to be one-shot snipes, which we had for a couple weeks when they had the game in the greatest state ever with those incendiary rounds, but I digress. They added the Season 2, Episode 2 raid, which was quite cool. A lot shorter than I anticipated it to be. If you don't want to play through it yourself, we had a ton of fun, a lot of great memes in that video coming soon. Here is the new DMR, which I'll be going through a full test phase of course, hitting harder. It's not through the Battle Pass, though. This is going to be from Weapon Challenge, or, of course, you could get it in the store bundle. They did a lot of tweaks to the actual weapons. If you've been hoping to use the STB, they made it so it's a little bit more effective against the armor. They added this in the last season, a couple weapons doing more minimum damage to armor, so you'll at least hit a little bit harder. But they did nerf the LMGs, the RAW, decreasing the range, increasing the recoil. This thing is still so consistent with the rate of fire and how minimal recoil there already is on it. It's not like you're going to switch to sniping here anyways, but it does make it a little less effective. Same thing with the RPK, slowing your movement speed, slowing the muzzle velocity. Seiken, reduce the damage range, was still doing great for the squad today, though. The MX-9, BAS-P, Vel, all got a little bit of buff. I was using the Vel today, even traded with a shotgun, so it might be a little bit better, increasing the close range damage. I use it for hip fire build as well. The PDW actually finally got an improvement for the ADS when you're using the iron sights. It's one of the main reasons I don't use the gun in the first place. Maybe they do listen to me. Probably not. And then the Lockman kind of just got to switch up, reducing the close range movement speed and aim down sight speed, but improve the overall recoil. The thing is, the recoil is already so good on this gun that, it's probably still going to be pretty dang effective. Now, the broadside did receive the damage range decrease, close range damage decrease as well. As I mentioned, ran into it a couple times today. Still managed to kill me out. So nothing too crazy on it. Flinch. They actually did quite a few changes to the overall flinch in the game, making it so there's more for assault rifles, SMGs, LMGs. And on top of that, with a lot of the ammunition types that pretty much nobody uses, the only one really valuable using is typically the high velocity rounds, especially for like sniping and such. But they did do some buffs to it, mostly removing the penalties that were previously there for like hollow points. No more bullet velocity penalty, remove the recoil penalty for the overpressured rounds. So might be something to consider, as well as the underbarrels. I think they're just trying to make some of these things more usable. Removing the movement penalty, added recoil control, even if you want to say use the master key, which I did a video on that was insane. Dropped one of my first 20 kills with that one. Stocks, bipods got a little bit of buffs. The underbarrels, I would love to know if you guys use any of this or see any cool videos with people using any of these. Let me know so I can go in and test some of them. Even the breacher, the flash hider, removed some of the penalties from it. And the big thing here, really, stand out to me, is the optics. Made it so, first of all, the hollow points don't reduce or reduced ADS speed here. Reduce the penalty of it and movement speed. But even if you're using thermal optics, hybrids, variable optics, less of a penalty, maybe they're finally worth putting on. I'm kind of excited. I'm going to try that. A lot more bug fixes. I'm not going to go through all of those. They did actually up some of the damage as well for frags, claymores, semtexes, which I'm not as stoked on the claymores, but it is there. This is where they mentioned some of the audio, UI, UX changes, which is still kind of all over the place, especially compared to what we had. Some of you guys might, by default, like that. They separated the audio. They've mentioned these things in the past, but I haven't noticed too much of it. Basically, there's stereo and surround sound. Now it'll default to just doing stereo. You can still change more, but typically just left and right is all you really need. The inverted flashbang. So I mentioned this at the beginning. It'll make your entire screen black instead of white when flashbangs go off. I had it on today. It was a little weird. I was like, oh, did my game crash? Because that's usually when the screen goes black. It's a dev error or some crash that typically happens. Here's some of the multiplayer information. Quality of life, though. This is really cool. Kill streak availability. The existing airspace is too crowded message now tells you how many seconds are left before you can call in your airstrike, which is really nice. Instead of just spamming the button, you know, okay, it's 5 seconds. I can do a couple things in those 5 seconds before I try again. Or if you're just trying to lock them down, if you got a bunch of airstrikes, you know exactly when to call the next one in. They changed some of the danger notifications to be a little bit more consistent, where the airstrikes comes in to be a little bit more consistent. The airstrike still killed me through building today, so, you know, be careful using them. Don't feel too confident. Armor breaks as well. They did remove the text for armor breaks popping up saying, you cracked them, because some people were disagreeing with me on this, and I could not believe it, but when it pops up, you think you knocked them, because that's typically what happened. I mean, if you played the game for as long as I have and done as many reps, when you see that text pop up, whatever, you think, oh, he's knocked. We got it. We got the XP for it, right? You already get a sound effect for when you crack them. The armor break icon, do we really need the notification with the text pop up there too? They removed that, so it's a little bit more clear. Automatically pick up armor plates as well, as I mentioned. This was not working for me today. Sometimes I think it did, but there was multiple times when I tried to run over stuff and it wasn't working. Maybe it only works for Resurgence now, but likewise for Resurgence, spawn protection will now be disabled, because I guess this is in the Resurgence category here. No, it's not. This is just quality of life. So there you go. I don't got an excuse for them. Just another day in the office here. Spawn protection, though, is now going to be a little bit higher up, so you can start shooting people in the sky if you would like to do that. And I think that's always nice. They now have all the playlists available, so solos, duos, trios, quads for Resurgence, which is great as well. This new event is the 3rd year anniversary. Just some more challenges to get some camos and skins. The bomb drone was also removed, so there's that. Very happy about that. This thing's super annoying. It's not rewarding. Even when you get kills with it, it's like, all right, cool, I guess. And sometimes, even when I had full health, I was still getting knocked by it. And then sometimes I'd be left with 1 health, which is how they were supposed to change it. But I don't know. Pacing balances, though. This is the big thing I mentioned at the beginning as well. The combat engagements in the mid-game, they're trying to increase kind of the fun of that, as well as the regain for the end of the game. So Zone 4, they have this guaranteed restock. All the boxes get refilled. So if you're at Zone 3, you loot a couple things. Even if you're doing like a crown contract, bring your team back, you could then go hit all of them once again once that Zone 4 comes in with the complete refill, which is great. Light Helo has been disabled in solos. I even saw a clip this morning, and it went viral. There's like 50,000 likes on it. Everybody's talking about, oh, yeah, this is why the game sucks, whatever. Because it was literally a solo. Last up, trying to look up. You can't even aim up straight because the game doesn't let you aim straight up. So the helicopter's just flying up there. Dude flies off and just ends up winning by a gas mask and a couple self-reses. Hopefully that's not a problem, especially for solos. At least if you're in a team, maybe you can make a play with something. They also increased the number of contracts revealed over the course of the match, which, again, kind of helps with some of the mid-game for it. Public enemies for the search and seizure contracts and the data heist public events. This is for Ashika. Now, I had never seen this. Some of you guys did tell me that you played it and did see this happen in the game. I haven't played enough Ashika. I played it when it first came out and never saw it. Went back on it today. There's no more AI. So you're playing against other players trying to do this, supposedly. Players will now be the focus of it. AI combatants have departed. So maybe people will like that better. They changed some of the pacing. The circle's a little bit bigger. But that is that. Now, as for gameplay, we have updated the usage requirement for building 21 access cards. They still have not made this available for the weekends. But if you try and bring it in, you can now exfil with cards. And there is that. As well as DMZ can now operate or arrive in a variety of vehicles. The AI can come in rather than just armored trucks. So do be careful of that if you are playing DMZ. Destroy contracts will now give you the 4 safest, the 4 closest safes as well, rather than just revealing them around the map. I think this is a little bit more for Ashika as well, because it seemed to show you a lot of them all over the place, although maybe it was the same on the other map. I never really noticed it too much. It seemed to be relatively close. Enemy combatants also now have a small chance to drop upgraded weapons upon death, which I thought was pretty cool. Typically, they always drop the exact same things, and now you might want to keep a little bit of an eye out for it. And there's some more bug fixes and everything, but for the most part, still bugs in the game. Keep playing it if you want to. That should be everything you need to know to keep an eye out for as you're playing through. Good luck out there. Give it a like if you enjoyed. And yeah, double check your sub. Thanks so much for watching. Cellmass64, over and out.